Good morning, children. Today we are discussing the in-text questions of chapter Heredity, lesson number 9 from class 10. Okay, this chapter Heredity is so important as it is, genetically proved, experimentally proved by Mendel. There are many possible facts included in the chapter, and from this chapter we have made some practice test questionnaires and already been circulated, and now today we are discussing the in-text question. This is assignment based video to be sent in the last week of this November month. Okay, right. We are now coming to the first index question. The question is this: if a trait A exists in 10% of a population in an asexually reproducing species, and a trait B exists in 60% of the same population, which trait is likely to have arisen earlier? So you have to understand the meaning of the question. A population of a species which are asexually reproducing population. Okay? There are two trait A, which only 10% of the population has, and another trait B, 60% of the population has. Which trait would have arisen earlier? Of course, we can understand that the trait B with the 60% of appearance in population would have arisen first. So answer is B. What is the reason? First of all, you have to understand, in asexually reproducing organisms, the traits never mix. How then variation? If the traits do not mix, it means that the genes do not combine. So gene recombination is absent in asexually reproducing organism. Okay, mixing of the gene is absent. A trait will not mix with another trait. Then what is the reason? Minor inaccuracies during DNA copying leads to minor variations. Minor inaccuracies happen during the DNA copying at the time of mitosis, results in minor variations in the organisms. Here 10% population has trait A, and the 60% of population has trait B. It means that these two traits never mix each other. And which trait has more in the population? That is the trait B. So this would have arisen first. Since there is no mixing of the trait, this trait will remain in the population. So we can say the trait B would have arisen first. You got that idea? Yes. Now the next question: how does the creation of variations in a species ensure survival? Creation of variation. You must understand the word creation of variation. What are the reasons for developing variations in a species? There are many reasons. The first reason might be gene recombination in sexually reproducing organisms. Gene recombination takes place in a sexually reproducing organism. Gene recombination will be one reason. Okay, the second reason will be mutation. And the third one we can say the error happens during DNA copying. Error happens during DNA copying. You must please understand one concept, that during sexual reproduction, meiosis takes place in the reproductive cells, thereby gametes are formed. Okay? So during this sexual reproduction, that is during meiosis at the time of gamete formation, you can see gene recombination takes place. During recombination, gene recombination of meiosis, error happens. Error happens. This is what is called DNA copy. Okay? So there are three reasons: gene recombination in sexually reproducing organisms, mutation, and the error happens during DNA copying are the three main reasons why variations develop. And those organisms with useful variation means the variation which help the organisms in a better survival in the environment will be selected by the nature, and they will only survive. And they will only survive. You got that idea? Yes? Very clear? So we can understand that the organisms and sexually reproducing organisms, there are three reasons for developing variation: gene recombination during sexual reproduction, mutation. Okay, that is another reason. Third, you can say errors happens in DNA copy. Errors happens in DNA copy. So even these variations develop, you can see some of the variations may be useful for the organism survival. That organisms with useful variations will be selected by the nature, by natural selection. By natural selection. And this organism will only survive. Example, we can say the bacteria live in the warm water or hot water. Most of the bacteria will die, but a certain bacteria which is able to withstand with this bacteria which has a useful variation, maybe in the form of thick cell wall, maybe in the form of certain enzymes that they secrete to resist the heat. Maybe. All these are useful variations. Those bacteria with useful variations to survive in the warm water only survive. Others will be destroyed and killed. That is an example. So some of the bacteria live in the warm water. That is an example of useful variation. They will only survive. You got this idea? Yes. This is the answer. Now third question. How do Mendel's experiments show that traits may be dominant or recessive? Yes. Mendel crossed pure tall plant with pure dwarf or short plant. Pure tall, capital T, capital T. Okay? Capital T, capital T. Pure tall. Capital T, capital T. With pure dwarf or short T, short T. In the F1, what was formed? All the F1 hybrids formed were tall. All the F1 hybrids were formed tall. Now the F1 were self-fertilized and produced F2. In the F2, the offsprings were or hybrids were in the 3:1 ratio. 3 were tall and 1 is short. Why the short developed in the F2? This trait was there already in the F1 generation. Why this small t or short trait was not appeared? Because of capital T. The trait capital T is dominant over the small t. The trait capital T is dominant over small t. And the small t become a trait, tall trait, and expressed in the F1 generation. And the small t, which is a recessive trait, which was not expressed, which was suppressed by the capital T, is called the recessive trait. So you got that idea? Yes. This is the answer for this question. So in this way, Mendel experimentally proved that tall capital T, tall were dominant trait and the small t were recessive trait. Got it? That's all. Thank you.